Hey there, folks. Austin Baumgarten
Ryan Norris
with Keller Realty Northwest Montana and Hidden Homes Montana, coming to you on Vlog Day. We're here right now we're going to talk about the market. And that's kind of it can seem almost like a loaded question right now, because I know I personally, I'm sure you too, Ryan, get asked that daily. I probably get asked at least 3 times a day, specifically if I'm talking to clients, new clients, past clients walking down the street. My mother-in-law, I mean, it doesn't.
Like every conversation somehow steers towards what's going on in the market. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is good for business, right? We're meeting people and talking about it.
Well, it is, but the thing is, it's like sometimes you're always like, well, what do you say? And it's like there's so many different approaches to the market,
for sure,
of what's going on. And I mean, it really depends upon if you're a buyer, a seller, you're investing, you're refinancing. All the things that go along with real estate really have to do with what's happening with the amount of inventory on hand. What's how many things are selling that month. The interest rates, that's a big one too, and we'll be talking into that. Anyway, Ryan and I did try to do this last week. Or sorry, no, it was like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. I think it was the last market one. The last market recap that we've been doing every month.
And it was good, wasn't it?
I hope we can bottle lightning for a second time. It was really good. However, we had a technical difficulty, and that was all for nothing.
Yeah, it was like a 9-minute conversation, and all of a sudden we were like, oh, we just didn't record it. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
however, what's great is that I was able to kind of dive into the numbers a little bit more. We actually had a great conversation with Ed Nissen. Just recently. I know I've been talking to Dave Christensen too here with Mountain Lake Mortgage, and we had the great conversation with Dave Fetfight.
Oh my gosh!
At the podcast.
If you haven't seen the podcast, check that out. He was our last guest. The guy is the Flathead Lake guru, filled with knowledge about the lake and lakefront property, and I took a lot away from it. And if you're eyeing that market, that's a good one to listen to, and he's a good guy to reach out to.
Yep. No, I fully agree. And the thing is, I mean, that going back to that original question, it was like, what's going on in the market right now, and so many different variables. I know that we kind of saw something really happen. It was back in April, like kind of late April with our listings.
The day we all shall never forget.
We'll never forget, because we were running with, I always say, Mach 10 with my hair on fire for literally 18. For me, it was like 22 months, but for a lot, it was like 18 months of just constant, basically, we get a listing property, we pretty much sell it, have it sometimes under contract with multiple offers within 5 to 6 days, and that's kind of how our pattern had been.
Yeah.
And then
I was just getting wet behind the ears. My business was starting to pick up, and really finding a rhythm, and being like, wow, this is a lot of fun. It's fun, it's exciting, it's sometimes simple. Our market was so wild. You could list a house on Thursday, do an open house on Saturday, be under contract on Monday, and that was the first time, at least as long as we'd been working together, that I saw that just come to a halt immediately. And we hit the market with 3 new listings that weekend, 3 open houses. We came out on Monday. Was only 1 under contract?
We did have actually 1 under contract.
Yeah, one under contract, but the other 2 sat. And then just kind of eyeing the surrounding areas, I think 10 to 12 other listings popped up. And after 7 to 10 days, all of us were sitting. Ultimately, all of them sold, which was great. But it was that first time we saw things really, really slow. And it's kind of been gradually continuing to get more and more like that.
Yep. Yeah. What do you think is causing that the most?
I don't, interest rates, obviously everyone's going to reach for that. I think that's probably the biggest, elephant in the room. I do think there's a bit of the state of the world. There's a lot of fear mongering, and folks are a little bit hesitant to spend their money. Interest rates, state of the world. And
stock market?
Yeah, stock market, obviously. But, I think everyone's taken a little bit of a pause and catching their breath after all this craziness that we've seen for the last few years. And they're making a little bit more educated decision. Also, too, there's less buyers out there, so there's more time to shop. There isn't quite that frenzy. Everyone's racing out to pick up a home and overpay for no reason.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that people won't do both. They're not going to pay the high interest rate and the elevated price. They'll usually do one or the other, and that's very, very. I mean, I'm seeing that. And kind of going back to what you're saying is even though those houses everything kind of slowed down for just a minute, but they still went under contract and sold within 14 days.
Yeah, I mean, we're still extremely desirable market. People want to come here. It's just not what we saw. and that was unprecedented. Like, we're likely never going to see that again in our career.
Correct.
So,
Well, maybe not. We'll see.
I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I was laughing. I actually have had a little bit more time to kind of catch up on things, which is nice. I know we have, as a team, have been able to like get some of our nice systems in place and,
it's great.
and do different things. We're actually
Catch your
talking
breath.
on camera, which is nice.
Oh yeah, I'm never in front of the camera. So
No, that's because he's always behind it.
That's by design.
Making all this stuff.
yeah.
But let's kind of dive into some of this stuff real quick, because I mean, there's some things that I kind of pulled out of the market, at least this month, that really stood out to me, and also even, like I said, talking to some industry leaders of where a healthy market is, and how we actually still are not in a healthy market yet.
Getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah, getting closer.
And this is a big one for me. And actually I'll let you chime in on about absorption rate. And what that kind of means to people, and what is absorption rate?
It's just like how many days on market, or how many days. Oh Jesus.
No, it's okay. It's days of inventory. Days of inventory we have on market.
Yeah, the days of inventory we have on market, and like before homes would run out. If they all sold out, we would have so many months of inventory left for people to purchase. And I think like over the last 18 months, we're resting somewhere between 1.5 and 2 months worth. Currently, we're up over 4 months, I believe.
Yeah, I think if I look at these numbers, September 2022 was at 4.65.
Yeah, 4.5, like 4.5, 4.6. And my understanding and my education is that it's usually like over 5 months, 5.5 months for a healthy market. So like it's scaring people a little bit, but the reality is like we're just moving towards a regular, stable market. And as long as we keep our eyes on that, we'll be good.
Yep. Well, and I think part of that too has to do with, supply and demand in general. And I know we've spoken about this before, is the whole, the amount of the just new home builds in the United States and the Valley in general. So I mean, we're still down somewhere over 2 million homes in the United States of what we actually need for our population. So I think
send more builders, please.
we do need some more builders. We also need supplies and lumber. And
some folks want to say we're full around here. We are not. Send them out.
Yep, it's actually a very big truth. We are seeing things pop up. I mean, the rental market's still pretty high. That's the thing too. The rental market. I definitely think it would be, and even with these interest rate hikes, it's better to actually own than rent.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, when
maybe
it comes
not
down
in
to
the short run, but over time, for sure. Yeah.
And I think Holly, we do another vlog here in a little bit, and it's going to be talking about the 2-1 buy down, which we'll get into, but stay tuned. Anyway, absorption rate, that's a great one to talk about too. I want to talk about just some quick numbers that have happened, and this is just in the past week in Flathead County. So just in the past week, we had 56 new listings, right?
Oh.
We had 32 closed transactions. However, what's interesting, we had 27 price reductions.
Yeah.
And what do you think that the cause of the price reduction actually is?
Honestly, I think a lot of it's fear and motivation.
Okay.
I think sellers are just, what do you mean my house didn't sell over the weekend? They still feel as though they have the market and they've got this big ticket price item. And I just think folks need to be patient. Like, the right buyer is out there. Obviously, it comes down to your motivation and what you and your family needs to do. But, just pumping the brakes and letting your realtor work for you, they'll bring you a good buyer. With that said, the other side of the coin is, if everybody else is lowering in their price, your house is going to sit there. So I think just out the gate, price it accordingly, lead the market, don't follow it down.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think the price reductions are more so about fear and wanting to compete with other people.
Yeah. Or people, like I said, they kind of missed the boat on those big peak prices.
Oh yeah.
But I think what ended up happening is that everyone just kept pricing higher and higher and higher and higher. So that was like the system that everyone had in place, was that they're going to, if you've got a real estate agent that's looking, at anything, if it's a year comparables, it doesn't work. I mean, we barely can even look at the past month or two. There's different ways we need to do comparative market analysis just for our clients to make sure that they are pricing it accordingly. Because if I look at the comps in the past year, your house is going to be worth another $100,000. And so people love to hear that price, of course, because everyone's trying to make money on their investment. But the thing is, I've actually talked with clients recently that maybe they bought their house for $250,000 10 years ago, and you're telling them that it's worth $600,000 right now, and they think it's worth $750,000, and they want that $750,000 price. And it's like, I was like, that's some pretty big appreciation.
It is, and there's always this, that little bit of greed that's and all of us, I guess.
Yeah,
and trying to get them to see the light. It can be challenging for sure. But I think that the days of those crazy overpriced homes are behind us. And folks just need to price them accordingly and listen to their agents. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to folks and like, there's been 32 price reductions in this neighborhood, in the last week. What do you think's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't listen. And oftentimes they don't have to. I don't want to contradict myself what I said earlier about fear and people rushing to lower their prices. But sometimes there's a time and place for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, maybe it's not the time for that person to sell.
Yeah,
maybe it's just like, well, if you're looking to just get like that specific investment at that price right now, it might not be right this moment. Maybe it's in a couple years or in the next cycle.
Sure.
Something like that's something we just need to talk to them about.
Yeah.
That's what I find too, is that talking to my clients, both buyers and sellers, and just being like, hey, where is your motivation, right? And is it in your best interest to buy or sell at this exact moment? We're all about, like, I plan on being in real estate for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be your agent for however long. So it's not like pushing you, we need to sell it right now, or you need to go buy right now. But it's like, actually, there's different options if you do want to buy right now and you do want to sell right now. That's the creativity we're trying to, breed, I guess, with the Hidden Homes team, is like, stay on top of it, talk to people that are professionals in front of us in our actual circle, title, financial institutions, brokers. We haven't been in the real estate industry super long, but we've learned a lot. But there's people that came before us, and they know a lot more.
Absolutely.
So
also
that's
just staying in conversation with our clients too. Like, even if they're not interested in listing or buying or whatever, just constantly letting them know what is happening with the market, so they can make the best decision for them and their family, over the coming months.
I want to bring up one more quick thing, and this is what's interesting too, is because a lot of people, this is why the numbers seemed kind of askew, and this is actually Brianna Nieder, our team leader here at Keller Williams.
What up, Bree?
What up, Bree? She actually said to us at our event, we had a little team meeting the other day, and it made so much sense to me, because we're still seeing like median sales prices going up, and that's been going on. It's been going on for 2 years now.
Yeah.
But it happened all summer, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why right now, literally? 2021, the median sales price was $535,000, and this year it's $582,000. And I was like, okay, well, numbers are askew when it comes to the amount that have sold, because if we look at sold listings in 2021, it was 238, and this year it's 166. But what it really comes down to is what houses are selling.
Yep.
So talk to me about the luxury market a little bit and what that means.
So we're definitely seeing less homes selling right now. I think there's like 166 sold this year in September. Last year was 238. That's 80 or 60. I'm not a math magician. Either way, it's a lot more. And what's happening is you're seeing these higher ticket price items, these nicer homes up on the mountain, on the lake, that are $6-8 million. That may take a little bit longer to sell. They've been sitting for a while, and those sellers are starting to bring their prices down, and they're starting to sell. So we're starting to see the more expensive homes sell. And that even though we have less actual units that are being moved, we're seeing more of those higher ticket price items sold, which is skewing the numbers.
Yep.
And that's why we're sitting here with a median sales price $50,000 more than what we saw last year, but yet we've sold less units. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, well, actually, it makes a lot of sense, because what you're doing is basically I would say some buyers too. Like, I've actually worked with a few buyers recently that they saw like interest rates spike and houses not selling with a bidding war, and they're suddenly offering $100,000 under the asking price, like, right away, and you're like, it's like that's not where we are yet. Right? However, but the thing is, there are some, maybe even in the luxury realm, even the $1 million realm, because $582,000 as a median sales price is not crazy. But it seems crazy for the flathead. However, if you're getting if someone's getting that $3 million house for 2.5, and because that luxury clientele's offloading something, they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to offload this right now to the next awesome owner of this home right now, and I'm still going to make some money off of it. Meaning they probably had a good agent that said, hey, you know what? You're still going to make some great money off this. It's a good time to, let go of that as of right now. Otherwise, you might need to wait till the next cycle, which is what we were kind of talking about. So that's why these numbers were kind of skewed. And that when Bree told us about that, I was just like, it was like this ping, this epiphany. I was like, that makes so much sense. But anyway,
you can definitely get lost in the numbers. Sure.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, I don't really want to get lost in the numbers too much right here. This might be even enough.
Most of the times when you talk about this stuff, my eyes cross and my ears ring. So,
Well, and I'm always learning. I mean, that's the thing, is I want to stay on top of this stuff, specifically for those conversations we're going to be having with you as sellers, you as buyers, throughout, and making sure that the team, we're all together and cohesive on this. So I guess if you have any questions about anything, especially this little vlog right here, reach out to Ryan or myself, Ty or Holly. We'd love to talk to you. Otherwise, till next time, Austin Baumgarten
Ryan Norris,
with Keller Williams Realty, Northwest Montana. Over and out.
over and out.
Bam.
Nice hat, dude.
You too.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, I was going to call you and see if you were in the same hat.
Really?
Yeah.